Cheers.
What's up, guys? Nick Caputo here. I'm here with my boy Adrian Delaney.
We're here.
We're out here in Tulum by the fire, and we wanted to do a quick podcast for you guys on the most important things to consider in your 20s to optimize your ROI on your effort and time that you put into specific things.
Yeah, 100%.
So, yeah, the first one I know that Adrian wanted to cover here is networking. We met here in Tulum. So if you want to go ahead and tell that story a little bit.
Let's tell the story.
Yeah.
Let's tell the story. I mean, I came to Tulum impulsively just to go network, grow my experiences, my network, my environment. I was doing remote sales. And on my first night, I go to this 7-Eleven. Just last second, the universe is like, go to the 7-Eleven. We go there, me and my buddy who I'm living with. And I see him and two other guys in the line, and I could just sense. I'm like, these guys are remote salesmen. These guys are totally remote salesmen.
That's what you said.
And that's
You're
what
like,
I
you
said.
guys are sales guys.
And we're just standing there. I got like a Jack Daniels Coke. I'm like, I'm chilling. And then I'm like, are you guys remote salesmen? And we just connected.
Definitely.
And now we work together. And it's stuff like that. So to preface this entire thing, I think we'll continue to talk about some of the key skills, habits, attributes that you should have and acquire and grow in your 20s. Network, communicate, and number one being communicate. Like, don't be afraid to go out there, put yourself out there, talk to people, fucking slam the wall, get past the wall, do what you need to do, but learn to communicate, and I swear it leads to so many different endeavors. And that's literally how we met. It's literally how we met. I was just
100%.
like, yo, y'all remote salesmen?
And we had a good conversation. I remember that. We were chilling outside the 7-Eleven talking.
And now we work together. And now we do videography. We grow our personal brands. We grow our sales. We grow our fucking mindset.
And you came and joined the winning team.
We joined the winning team here, baby. And now we're ripping a fucking podcast. It's
Yes, sir.
Communication, number one skill that I recommend to anybody, any age, teen, 20, 30, anybody. Get your fucking communication up. That's it. That's one of my number one skills that you have to acquire.
Yeah, learn how to be
100%.
social, learn how to speak effectively, learn how to
Yeah.
speak clearly, convey ideas, learn how to read your audience. You got to understand the person who you're speaking to, the person on the other end of your voice,
Definitely.
who's needs to be able to receive the message that you're speaking to them.
Yeah.
So, I mean that's honestly pretty obvious, but additionally, preceding communication skills, I would say definitely focus as well on mastering your look. It's something that's super in my opinion, underrated. I mean, there's a whole looks maxing thing now. There's a whole community of people that are all about it. I don't think you need to be obsessed with your looks, but you definitely do need to consider how you look, and you need to, find what style suits your physique, your face, what haircuts work, that kind of thing. Do the experimentation and figure out what works. You want to look professional, and you want to be able to, look like you fit the part of somebody who someone would want to do business with. So, that goes for,
Definitely.
working out. Make sure you're healthy. Make sure you look healthy. Make sure you, have a good haircut. Make sure you're cleaned up. Don't be all scruffy. If you want to go out and meet people and communicate with people and network, you have to look the part, and you have to look like somebody that somebody wants to do business with. If you can't even take care of your haircut, or you can't take care of your beard, then, how are they going to, want to do business with you and take care of a business or take care of clients, etc.
Yeah. I mean, to add to that, I think that's the greatest I don't even know how you say it, title to maxing your body, your physique, your mind. Sorry, people, I'm a little bit modeloed up, but even so, right? I can go to the beach and drink a couple of modelos with my boy, with some friends, because I work out, because I work on myself. I'm constantly keeping track of myself. I'm a type 1 diabetic. I know what I need to look like in order to feel good, to be good, to act good, to look good going into a room, right? I'm always very self-conscious about that. I literally, like you said, what style looks good, what hair, I just decided to get the flow back.
We were talking about that yesterday.
Literally, I'm like, how do I make sure that it looks good or this or that? You just gotta test, iterate, try, see what works, see what fits you, and just mold yourself into it. Become feel good when you walk into a room. I 100% agree with that. Most definitely.
Another thing to bounce off what you said, as far as you can drink a Modelo on the beach because you work out, balance is important. So a lot of people post content. I'm posting something actually about this today, this point. Everyone's all about this insane grind, lock in, you'll never be successful unless you miserably grind every second of your life. And honestly, I disagree with that. I found a lot of success in my life, and I've done really well for myself. And at the same time, in the process of doing that, I've had a lot of fucking fun. So at the same time, you need to be able to network, and in order to network, you need to be a good time. No one wants to really get to know somebody who's boring and is just locked in all the time. You have to be able to network and meet people and get people to like you and be like, okay, that guy's a good time, he's cool. And you want to find the perfect balance, right? You don't want to be that person who's like too fun, who's too all over the place, the person who's like, I can't hang out with them that much. You still have to be productive, you still have to be intelligent. That being said, you still have to have fun. You have to have the perfect balance of both if you really want to achieve that next level success. Because there comes a time in business, there comes a time in your career, if you really want to be successful, where just grinding and having work ethic and being accountable and executing is only one part of it. There comes a time where you really do need to make connections, where you do need to leverage your network, where you do need people to like you, right? And you need to make sure that you can have a good time with people, right? There comes a time where your majority of your business, at least in portions of your, periods of your life, where you're going to be predominantly meeting people and in meetings and networking with people. And, you need to leave a good taste in someone's mouth every single time. And you can't do that if you're not fun.
No. It's much more easier when you're fun. I mean, but even so, like, right, you gotta have that fine medium. I see it as like the David Goggins and like the Joe Rogans, or like, like, how do you find yourself in the middle almost? Like, how do you like
you just be a normal person?
Just be you. Just be you. I think that's my takeaway. Just be you, and everything else will come to be. Like, what
that being said, just being you, I honestly don't, I love that, but I also don't love that, because a lot of times people use being me as an excuse to like not improve, and as an excuse to like not self-reflect and self-analyze. Like, be you, but at the same time be like the best you that you can be, and that comes from like analyzing yourself and seeing where you can improve, right? Like, if you have a shitty physique, like, don't just be you, go to the fucking gym. If you have social anxiety, don't just be you and be awkward in social situations. Put yourself out of your comfort zone and develop your interpersonal skills. So be you, but at the same time, like, constantly improve you. Don't be fake, but constantly improve on your weaknesses.
Because I got a lot of guys, a lot of friends, even the guy that I'm living with here in Tulum, that ask me like, how are you so good at just like talking to anybody? And I'll tell him, and I'll tell these people, like, I was never that good originally, right? Like, I've always kind of been extrovert, like jumping around, but like I had to learn how to articulate myself, how to intro myself, how to look good, how to enter the room good, how to hold myself, because I'm young, right? I'm younger, and like if I'm going into a room full of, XYZ, older people, multimillionaires, this, that, the third, right? I want to make sure that I'm feeding off their egos, that I'm holding myself at a decent regard to where they're at, that I know what I'm walking into, not just either being egotistical or putting myself above or below, right? You have to know where you're at all moments, be very self-aware. I think that's my final like tidbit on like what you should acquire in your 20s. Just be very self-aware, right? Like, understand, like we were saying, the balance. It's okay to let off, maybe go drink a couple Modelos at the beach with some buddies and network, but you got to know that, like, all right, what's the pendulum? Where am I going to swing at if I kept going down this path, right? You have to be very self-aware. If you want to be the best version of yourself, you have to know who is Adrian Delaney 5 years from now that has the XYZ, right? Like, what is he living like? How is he operating? Be very self-aware in that and live like that. I think self-awareness is probably the other thing that a lot of people will negate because of social media, because of life, because of the 9 to 5, because of the fucking subconscious programming that we all live by, right? Like, the more self-aware you are, the better I think that you will be able to fucking hold yourself in any conversation, in any environment, anything. That's my rant on self-awareness. Like, that's my rant. Like, self-awareness, 100%.
And I think 100%. That comes from experimentation a lot. Like, definitely. Throughout my 20s, I've done a lot of experimenting with a lot of different things, different diets, different training styles, different communication styles, different content styles, different businesses, a lot of different things. And I've really found what works for me and what doesn't. And I've really, like, come to an understanding about myself and who I am, and that's given me a lot of leverage moving into my career in my late 20s. I think there's a couple things that I want to also add that I think, especially for people in their early 20s, that are super like relevant and important for you guys to put energy and time and effort and at least like thought into.
To wrap this up, what would you say to them? What would you say to the people in their early 20s? What do they need? Not need, but like, what should they be actively trying to acquire, become, right? Like, if you put
in my opinion, the number one thing when it pertains to network, business, success, no matter what it is, be knowledgeable about a lot of things.
Yeah.
like I know a lot about a lot, and not just to toot my own horn. Like I've been obsessed with different topics over the years. Like I've relentlessly pursued information over and over and over again for a very long period of time.
That's where we agree. That's
Yeah,
where
like-
me and him. That's
like
where
I've
me and
learned
him
a
are
lot
really,
about a
like-
lot, you know,
like, I've
and
done a lot of different industries, a lot of
and that
different
helps,
things.
you know, a
Yeah,
lot of different
it
experience
does.
doing different jobs, a lot of different
does.
experience with different styles of content. I've pursued different things, and
It really does.
you know, I've been to a lot of different places. I've seen cultures. I've done
Yeah.
I've researched different stuff from nutrition to business to investments to a bunch of different stuff, and the ability to have a conversation about anything, you know, takes you a long way, right? Like no matter who you're talking to, no matter what room you walk into and what they're talking about, like you should be able to contribute to the conversation and add value and at least share a perspective.
Yeah.
If you don't know shit about shit, you're not fun to hang out with and you're not productive to hang out with. No one's going to have a conversation with you and be like, "Wow, he had some interesting thoughts, some interesting stuff. I never heard that." Right? That takes you a long way. So, I would definitely say build your knowledge base above all else. Make sure that you know a lot about a lot. And other than that, build your experience base. And that helps with the knowledge base, but they're two different things, right? Knowing shit and having done shit are two completely different things. So know your shit, know a lot of shit, know at least a little bit about a lot,
Yeah.
and then also do a lot of things, experiment with different things, unless you find that one opportunity that is really worth giving your all and you pursue relentlessly. When you find that, pursue that with your all. And that might change, right? It might be very clear in the moment that that's the one thing. For me, that's been several things over the years, right? In high school, it was sports. It was hockey and lacrosse. In, you know, after college, it was, you know, building my platform. It was, you know, the health coaching business and the breathing stuff and everything that I was doing with that. And now it's insurance. So no matter what it's been, you know, I've chosen the one thing that I think is the highest ROI for me to do, and I've gone all in on it. So whatever you do, it might change over the years. Obviously, you guys are watching this. You're young. You're in your early 20s. You got the world by the balls. You got nothing but time.
Yep.
That being said, use the time you have wisely and go all out on something. Anything that's
Yeah.
worth building a skill with, it takes time and it takes full commitment. And if that changes later after you develop a level of mastery over that thing, cool. Go to the next thing. But at least lock in on one thing at a time. Don't spread yourself too thin, because then you'll be halfway decent at a lot of things and good at nothing.
Bang.
Bang.
To summarize it, improve your communication, improve your looks, gym, you know, walk into a room, see it, feel it. But then on top of that, be able to walk into a room and have the knowledge to at least hold yourself in a conversation, the knowledge, the mind, and be you. You can be a Swiss Army knife, but be able to pull out the one fucking knife that you can do anything with, right?
Or be good with all of the knives in the Swiss Army knife. You know
Be
what I
good
mean?
with
Like,
all of them.
use all of them, but be good at all of them.
In
Don't
your
be halfway decent with all of them.
That's, I guess, what I would summarize with your point is in your 20s, at least for me.
I got a couple other points.
Yeah, I know,
to be
but
honest.
to finish this off, for me personally, I think it's the guys and girls too that are on the same path as we are know that they have the ability to learn so much, learn it, be able to acquire it. If you walk into a room with someone who has more knowledge on that skill, you're able to hold your own, right? And I think that's like the best skill you can have. Learn everything, become everything, be the fucking Swiss Army knife. Who gives a fuck? You pour that one cup, and if it overflows, put it into all the other fucking endeavors that you know you want to be better at. That's my takeaway from like what your 20 should be, what you should become, and how you should act.
Yeah.
100%.
On top of that, just the last couple of things, I'll keep them quick. Be
Yeah.
a good listener. Listen more than you talk.
great
That's how you
advice.
learn a lot of shit. Like, especially if you're in a room with people that are older than you, that know more than you, that are, you know, that you want to network with and you want to be like a part of. Don't like just yap your face off, because nobody likes a fucking yapper. Don't get me wrong, I'm a fucking yapper. But at the same time, like, you know, don't only yap. Listen to.
Yeah.
Right? In conversation, use your ears as well. Especially when you're younger and you don't have that much expertise on different topics, you can learn a lot. A lot of the stuff that I'll talk about in conversation are things that someone else talked about in conversation with me. Right? So I pick up things. I pick up one-liners. Like you've picked this up from me. I have a million one-liners.
Just kidding.
A
He has
million
so
of them.
many one-liners.
Right? And that's because every
It's so
time someone
good.
says a one-liner and I'm like, that was fucking good, I remember it and I use it.
Yeah, it's great. And then he starts using it, and people like me or anybody in his vicinity starts using it as well, and it's like, oh, that's weird.
And then lingo just evolves.
And then the lingo evolves. And
Yeah.
that's what I would call like expanding your mental real estate on others, which I think
100%.
which I think is a fucking that's like some psychological stuff that for a whole nother video, but like that's what he's been doing, and I can see it viscerally. I'm like, wow. He says something like what's the he's always like it was never that. It was never
It was never the
XYZ.
Modelo on the beach.
It was
It was
never
always
the
the
Modelo.
tequila.
It was always the tequila. Like like you, and then all the people around him will start saying it, and I'm like, wow, that like I viscerally could see that happen as I got to know this guy. I'm like, okay, that's something that you need to be aware of. How do I like, expand my mental.
We can do a whole
real estate.
other
On
video
that,
on
like,
that,
alone,
just
yeah.
on influence alone,
Yeah.
like how to influence other people and be a positive
Yeah.
influence in people, but also cultivate respect and make people like want to be
100%.
like you.
Want to be like you and like appreciate you for.
But
who
this
you are.
video is the start. You know
This
what I
is the
mean?
start,
It
yeah,
starts
yeah.
by developing yourself, by paying close attention to things in your 20s. You know, really like I guess the last point I want to make, the last thing that I would recommend
Wrap
that
it up.
everyone does in their 20s, especially their early 20s, is give a fuck. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people just don't give a fuck, and it's not cool. Like they think it's cool. It's cool to give a fuck. Like pay attention to things, care about details. The beauty of life is in the smallest, minuscule details of things. And if you pay very close attention to the details of things, you learn a lot and you understand things a lot more fundamentally. And it can take you places. It can open up doors for you. It can make you realize things a lot faster than falling on your face a million times. Pay attention to the details and care about shit that you do. That's all I got for this video, at least. I can yap for a million years, but we'll cut it there. Guys, if you guys think this was valuable, if you guys want to learn more from us, obviously this is the first one that we've done together. I'm just getting back into the content game, doing podcast style stuff like this. So if you guys want to learn more, make sure you hit subscribe on our pages, Adrian Delaney, Nick Caputo. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, like, comment, whatever, ask us questions, comment in the comments below, you know, what topics you'd like us to cover in the future, or either of us to cover in the future. And, you know, catch us on Instagram, you know, Adrian Delaney, what's your handle?
Adrian Delaney IV.
And Caputo Closes on Instagram.
Yep.
So check us out, check out our content, you know, learn from us, reach out, you know, if you guys want to come join the winning team, hit me up on Instagram. Let me know, you know, you really can have a great opportunity to make money. Remote sales, live the life that we're living out here. You know, we're in Tulum. It's a Wednesday night. We spent the whole day at the beach. You know, I worked all day from the beach. If you guys want a life of freedom with, you know, financial freedom, physical freedom, location freedom, hit me up. Let's make some plays. Let's get it, boys.
Let's do it. Nick Caputo, everybody. Pleasure.